Hello, I'm live. It's Wednesday, so that means it's time for me to be live. Just going to wait for some people to arrive, but while I do, for those that will watch this after it has finished, I'm going to talk a little bit about how things are going here. So, things are going pretty well here overall. I haven't had any meltdowns this week, which is a first since this situation started, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. And I have been enjoying lots of time with my family, which has been really nice. I guess you don't really get that kind of extended time to just hang out with your family usually, so we've been definitely making the most of that by playing family board games and going on dog walks and just generally kind of enjoying time together. I wanted to talk a little bit about the situation of being kind of vulnerable in terms of being disabled and having a chronic health condition, but not being on the official government shielding list, and how that feels and what that looks like. So basically, as regular people will know, I have two chronic illnesses. I have hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome as well as an ME diagnosis, which means that I am generally quite unwell and have had to adapt my life and spend a lot more time at home than I would like. Anyway, prior to this happening, hi Jodie, but then this situation happened, and initially we were told basically if you have an underlying health condition and you get offered the flu jab, hi Katie, that means that you need to take special attention to the social distancing guidelines, which we did, and Mr. Purple started to take special precautions, and then eventually he was actually unable to go out to work anyway, so we all locked down here and hadn't been going anywhere at all apart from to walk the dog. And then what happened was the government released this official shielding list, which is obviously people with really serious conditions like lung conditions and cancers and heart conditions. There is a list somewhere if you're curious, and that is completely understandable because those are the people who, if they became really unwell, sorry, I'll start again. Those are the people who, if they did get coronavirus, would be most likely to become really unwell. So it makes sense that those people have been asked to shield. However, for those of us who are kind of sitting on the edge of that, you know, I don't have a lung condition. Hi everybody. I don't have a lung condition, I don't have a heart condition, but I know that my immune system tends to overreact. Whenever I do get ill, I definitely get way more unwell than anyone else in the family with the same kinds of bugs. I'm obviously feeling a little bit nervous about how my body would react if I became unwell. So I'm not on the official shielding list, which means that I can't access any official government support or priority shopping deliveries or any of that kind of stuff, which is, I guess, appropriate because I'm not on that list, but it leaves those of us who aren't on that list, who are still scared of getting this illness and how our bodies would behave if we got that, kind of without that reassurance and without that clear guideline on how we should be dealing with this situation, and having to make decisions for ourselves without that clear guidance and not being able to ask for additional support, and feeling like maybe it's not quite right for us to ask for that additional support because we're not on that list. And that feels really strange, having been disabled for quite a lot of years now and having spent a lot of time at home anyway because of my disabilities. It feels quite strange to not be in the category of being vulnerable. I mean, I guess I am vulnerable, but I'm not shielding. I don't know. Does anyone else feel that way? Is anyone else having similar, like, head confusion over what they should be doing in that situation because they feel vulnerable but they're not officially vulnerable? I don't know. Let me know. So now that some of you are here today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to chat to you about, as I did last week, I'm going to show you my favourite Lego model, and I'm also going to give you a film recommendation and TV recommendation. And an exciting thing that I'm doing this week is that I asked you to send me your isolation creations, having noticed that many people are now getting more crafty or more arty, or they're cooking more, or whatever it is that you're into. People have got more time to do that, and I've seen some wonderful stuff over the internet of people making and doing things. So I asked you guys to send me your isolation creations earlier this week, which you have been doing. Gosh, you really have been doing it. I was really excited with the response I received to that. So I'm not going to be able to show everybody's isolation creations, or we'd be here all evening. But I'm going to show you a selection of my favourites. Not even my favourites. I love them all. I'm going to show you the ones that I picked because I had to pick some. So that's what I'm going to do today. So shall I get started? Shall I start with, book recommendation as well. That's the other thing that I'm going to do. So what would you like first? Would you like a book recommendation or the Lego model? Put your answers in the comments. I don't know. I always feel the urge to do a little bit of singing when I'm sitting here staring at myself doing a live stream. So please excuse my bad singing. So Lego or book? Books. So Lego. I think that's a strong Lego vote. So I'm going to show you my Lego model, and then I will go to Mr. Purple for any comments, who is on the keyboards right now. When I first started watching live streams, I was really confused by how people were sitting here chatting and then also typing. I didn't really understand that someone else was doing it. It takes me a while to work things out sometimes. Okay, so Lego model of the week is the Big Bang Theory in Lego form. Can you see that? It is a beauty. It's another Lego Ideas. I have quite a few of the Lego Ideas. I really like those. But this is Sheldon and... oh my goodness, I can't remember it. Leonard. Leonard and Sheldon's sitting room, as you can see, and it's got all the characters. When I went to fetch it for you, to show you, it actually had some extra characters. I found Spider-Man and some other random characters sat in here hanging out with the Big Bang Theory gang. So we've got Bernadette and Penny, Leonard, Howard, Amy, Sheldon and Raj all hanging out. And it's got the physics model over here that they have. It's basically got everything. It's got the Green Lantern lamp, it's got the telescope, it's got the ideas board over here, it's got the sitting room area in here. I just think it's a tremendous model. I don't know whether they sell it anymore. You'd have to have a quick Google, but I really like it. They have brought out in the last year a similar kind of model that is the Friends, I think it's the Coffee House. And I really want that set, but it is quite expensive. So I don't know whether I'll be getting it before they stop selling it, but that is next on my list. So I'm going to go to Mr. Purple now because he had something to share.
Katie said that Easter chocolate provides some immunity and that we should all eat as much as possible.
That's amazing news. Katie in the comments is telling us that Easter chocolate can provide immunity. No, because if I say that, YouTube are going to take down my video for spreading false coronavirus rumours. Easter chocolate does not provide immunity to coronavirus. However, it does provide immunity to feeling sad. So I would definitely recommend that to prevent feeling sad. You eat lots of Easter chocolate. That is my top tip for you today. So my book of the week or my film of the week, which would you like next? Book of the week, film of the week. Do you like my dancing? Would you like me to dance and sing more on my live streams? Nobody wants to answer? In that case, I'm just going to make a decision. I'm going to tell you my book of the week, which I've just thought of in my head because I forgot to think of one because I forgot that I was doing that. But I'm going to go with my one of my favourite books that I've read it about 15 times. And I can't remember what it's called. That's a problem. If it helps, it's by an author called Elizabeth Wurtzel, and she also wrote a book called Bitch, which came after this book, and I can't remember what the book is called. Does anybody know a book by Elizabeth Wurtzel that is about her kind of experience of depression? What is it called? Top points for anyone who comes up with that. In the meantime, I'm going to fill you in on my film of the week. My film of the week is on Disney Plus because I got asked by someone. Prozac Nation! Yes, thank you, Simon. Thank you for coming to fill in the gaps in my mind. Prozac Nation by Elizabeth Wurtzel is about Elizabeth's experiences when she was at university with quite significant mental health. It's not an easy read. It is quite intense and it could potentially be triggering, so I'm just going to give you that warning now, but it is a fantastic book. I found I really related to it. I read it about 15 times in my 20s and I would highly recommend giving that a read if you're feeling strong enough to go into mental health. So, back to my film of the week. It is on Disney Plus because I was asked for Disney Plus recommendations and we did recently purchase Disney Plus. And my favourite film that I've watched in the last week is the remake of Lady and the Tramp. It is a remake of Lady and the Tramp which has, hi Amy, it has, they're not, I don't want to say they're real animals because they can't be real animals because they're talking and moving their mouths whilst talking. But I think that they're real animals. I guess they must be CGI, but they're real actors. So it's kind of another Disney real life remake of an animation. And I love dogs, so it was always going to be a hit for me. And I really enjoyed it. And it was a really uplifting film, which is just what we need at the moment. So my recommendation of movie of the week is the remake of Lady and the Tramp on Disney Plus. So next up is my TV show of the week. Hi, say hi to you. Hi, Emily Johansson. Johansson.
Living in Norway.
Oh, hi. Yeah, nice to see you. So my TV show of the week is an old TV show, but not a lot of people actually watch this TV show, so I wanted to recommend it because I think it's really awesome. It is, in fact, Community, which is a sitcom that you can find in its entirety on Amazon Prime. It's a very quirky little sitcom about a group of community college students in America. So for those of you that don't know, in America they have kind of your elite universities where people who get really good grades and have the money can go, and then they have community colleges which are considered, I guess, not quite as good. And it's about a group of students who end up in a study club at a community college. One of the characters does have autism, and it's just really quirky and really crazy stuff happens, and I really love it. It's very funny. It's definitely going to give you a giggle. It's really creative. It was really out of the box. It got bad towards the end, I'm not going to lie, but the first 4 seasons are absolutely fantastic and I would highly recommend it. I just recently rewatched it with my eldest, Super Kid, and we really enjoyed it, so I would definitely recommend that one. So now, have we got any questions or anything I need to deal with before I move on? Feel free to ask questions because I am more than happy to answer your questions, but in the meantime, I'm just going to keep on rambling. My next thing I'm going to do is your isolation creations, which I am very excited about. So I've never done this before, so excuse my complete lack of technical skills. I have an iPad with your creations on to show you. So the first one I'm going to show you is from Nora W, which is a digital drawing to encourage people to stay home. Can you see that? And I really liked that because I like Sesame Street and I think it's a really cool isolation creation. So thanks for that, Nora. My next isolation creation is a cake which has come from Rebecca. It's an Easter checkerboard cake. I love making cakes. I love decorating cakes, but they don't always come out so well, so I was impressed by this one. This is an Easter cake, and it's been cut so you can see that it's a checkerboard. Oh, you can see my light a little bit. If I hold it like that, you can see it better. And it's got some little sheep and some little rabbits and a little chick across the top, and I think it is really cute. Have we got any questions? No?
I'm really enjoying this.
Okay, oh well that's great, thank you. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. The next thing that I've got to show you, I really like this one. I think this is very skilled. This is better art than I am capable of, for sure. No, you should not be looking at cake whilst hungry. Yeah, sorry, I've just basically made everybody want to eat cake now, haven't I? I did say when I mentioned I was doing this live stream today that you guys should grab a slice of cake, did I not? So, the next creation I've got is from Michelle Goldman, who has been doing a 100-day drawing journey, and she sent me a link to the drawing journey which has little prompts every day for 100 days, and I really like her drawing. It's far more skillful than anything I would be capable of. So this is her beautiful drawing. like a sort of fairy or an earthy goddess surrounded by bubbles with roots going into the ground. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I really like that. So thanks for that, Michelle. Next up, oh, yeah, I'm actually going to show you two of Michelle's drawings because she sent me a load and I just think they're really fantastic. This is another drawing that Michelle sent me, which is shows a person sort of standing on their own with a large group of people like that, and I thought that was really, really nice. I like that one. Next up we have, yes, Roseberry, I'm getting to you. We have Roseberry, Rose, who is from the West Midlands. And I was going to say, Rose, I am also from the West Midlands. I was born and bred and grew up in Sedgley, which is near Dudley, which is near Wolverhampton, which is in the West Midlands. So Rose from the West Midlands, this is a bit of an unusual one. She did a photo shoot inspired by her favourite singer, who is Aurora Axnes. I don't know this singer, but I might check her out because she did look pretty funky in her pictures. You're from Stourbridge. Oh my goodness, I went to Halesowen College and hung out in Stourbridge all the time. So something in common. So Roseberry did a photo shoot, and I'm going to show you my favourite picture that she sent me. This is Roseberry, who's currently in the comment section. I think you'll agree she's very beautiful and she has beautiful tattoos, and this is a brilliant picture. So thanks for that, Roseberry. I love it. I especially love your tattoos, especially the elephant. Everyone with elephant tattoos is awesome, from the Midlands is awesome, right? My next picture, yeah.
Question in there. Jodie asks, can you recommend adult weighted vests?
Adult weighted vests. I have not come across adult weighted vests, but I think the first place I would look is probably a company called Sensory Direct, because we got our weighted blankets, and I have seen weighted vests because Wonder Girl has tried one of those on Sensory Direct. I don't know whether they do adult ones, but that might be a good starting point. It might also be a good idea to ask on Twitter if you are on Twitter, because there's a massive autism community on Twitter. If you're not already on Twitter, it can be a great place to get answers for questions like that. So my next isolation creation, I'm loving this is very fun, is from Amy Lupin, who made some pots to hang on the garden fence to grow leafy veg, which is a fantastic idea because here are her pots, very nicely decorated, I think you'll agree, but also a really great idea because at this time growing vegetables are a fantastic idea. I saw an article on the BBC News last week that unless lots of young people go and volunteer at farms, we are going to start to have issues getting fresh fruit and vegetables, so it might be a good idea to pop a few things in the garden now to prepare for that anyway, and obviously Amy is one step ahead of us there. My next creation is from Rachel, who has made the most beautiful honey soap to give to her neighbours. I think you'll agree it's absolutely gorgeous. Look at that, it looks like proper professional honey soap. I believe it contains actual honey, and I know that if I was Rachel's neighbour, I would be very excited to receive that. Oh, I liked this one as well. Mark, who was on Twitter, sent me this on Twitter, has, on the honey theme, created honeycomb. Now, I didn't know that you could make honeycomb. I'm not sure it looks, I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure it looks overly appetising. It looks a little bit like a large tongue to me, but I'm sure that it tasted delicious. To be honest though, I thought honeycomb was something that you got from I was thinking of the word then, word finding, a hive. I thought you got honeycomb from a hive, or you know what beekeepers use their hives, right?
Well, what about
I didn't know you could
crunchies?
crunchies. I guess maybe it's like crunchy honeycomb, which isn't really honeycomb, but it is called honeycomb. Anyway, he made honeycomb. I also have two more. I have a beautiful drawing from Leslie. I've been really impressed by some of these drawings because as some of you who follow me on Instagram, and if you don't, at Purple Ella and Coco, I share a lot of drawings over there. But my drawings are, I'm going to say I'm inspired by children's drawings. I think that's probably enough to say. So I can't draw things how they're supposed to look. So I'm always very impressed when people do. And this one, as I say, comes from Leslie, and she has drawn a absolutely fantastic snail. I think you'll all agree this snail is delightful. Would you not enjoy hanging this snail on your wall? I know I would. I mean, I like snails anyway. I've always had a bit of a thing for snails. I've always had a bit of a thing. Snails are cool, aren't they? When I was little, my mum convinced me that slugs and snails were basically exactly the same thing, but they'd given snails crash helmets, and that the slugs were ones that were last in the line and hadn't received a crash helmet. So I spent most of my childhood feeling sorry for slugs because they hadn't been given a crash helmet. There you go. And yeah.
Go on. Jodie asks, any tips for dealing with people who don't understand and accept autism?
Dealing with people, I get this question every single week, so this is possibly the last time I'm going to answer it. If you go through videos where I've answered questions, I think the how do I deal with people who don't understand autism is a really common one, sadly, which just goes to show how much work there is still to be done in terms of raising not just awareness, but also acceptance and understanding and compassion towards autistic people. But essentially, my answer is always the same. If it's someone that you care about and you really want them to be more compassionate, or it's an employer or someone that you have to deal with, I would recommend that you provide them with information to do their own research. Links, videos, books, pamphlets, websites, for them to go and do research about autism. And then hopefully they will go off and do that work and they will gain more understanding. Because it's like that thing that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, which I believe is something to do with horses having free will. So essentially, you can encourage someone to understand and be compassionate about autism, but you can't force that. So there's kind of a line where you go, here's lots of information, here's what I would like from you, I would like you to believe me, I would like your understanding, I would like your support, but at the end of the day, you cannot make someone do that. And so then at that point, if someone isn't taking that on board, all you can do is put your own boundaries in place so that their behaviour and that their attitude is not negatively impacting on you. Okay. My final isolation creation is from a lady called Lara, who I have actually done some Skype consultancy with in the past, and she is lovely. And Lara and her daughter have made some Easter decorations. So Easter is a little bit of a non-event for many people, having previously I would have gone to church. Oh, it's a little fox. Thank you. Oh, that's a smiley fox. Thank you, Roseberry. So I would have ordinarily gone to church and done some activities around Easter weekend. So I really like this idea of decorating their house. Oh, iPads not being reliable. And this one is a little rabbit surrounded by little rabbit eggs, I'm going to say. Rabbits don't lay eggs, Ella. Come on. That she's created. I'm really sorry if I didn't share your isolation creation. I received, I kid you not, around 40 isolation creations this week, which is brilliant because it just goes to show how fantastically productive the Purple Ella community are being at the moment. And I will do this every week. So if I haven't featured you, I'm going to keep a list. And so then maybe I'll try and make sure that I'm fair and I'm not using the same people week after week and I'm spreading the love a little bit. So please do send me whatever you're making this week. And I will do this again next week. It's just that there were a lot. But I looked at everything that everybody sent to me and showed it to the family, didn't I? And really enjoyed that. So thank you for sending those. Of course, rabbits lay eggs. Where does the Easter Bunny get them from otherwise? Clearly, right? Rabbits lay eggs. That's what we have learnt today.
A request for some rainbow pictures next time.
Oh, rainbow. I have got a rainbow picture if you'd like a rainbow picture because I was sent one. We also have a rainbow. Wonder Girl made a rainbow. And we have it in our window, but I was sent this beautiful rainbow picture by the same lady, Rachel, who made the honey soap, and she's a very talented lady. I actually do know her in real life because she works for the National Autistic Society, and I've done a few jobs for her. And she made this beautiful crochet rainbow to hang on her door. She crochets beautiful things. She crocheted for another lady I saw that she had crocheted one of the creatures from Stranger Things, and I have to say I did have some crochet jealousy at that point because I do not sew, crochet, knit. I do not do those things because if I try to do those things, I cry. I get into knots and tangles and end up covered in wool and then I cry. In fact, I have quite a good story. I'll tell you that story in a minute. I think Mr. Purple wants to talk to me.
Gary's asking, does the school closures affect our children's exams?
Do the school closures affect our children? No, fortunately, Superkid is in year 8, so she was not due to take any exams. Roboboy, sadly, is in year 6, so could potentially end up missing the end of primary school, which is really sad because lots of fun things happen at the end of primary school. And Wonder Girl isn't in school, hasn't been in school for nearly a year now anyway. She is home educated, so no exams have been affected here. Ooh, another super chat. It's a rabbit with an egg! Rabbit that laid an egg. Hi, Alice. Love it. Thank you. So now we have concluded for sure, anyone new to the chat, we have concluded that rabbits definitely do lay eggs. Teach your children. If you're home educating, teach your children that straight away. So, where was I? Oh yeah, wool. So I decided, after I'd had Superkid, as many of you who are regular viewers know, I spent some time in a psychiatric unit for mothers with postnatal illness, and during that time someone decided to take it upon themselves to teach me to knit, and I knitted a scarf, and it was a nice scarf, and I was very happy with the scarf, and I'd knitted the scarf with the supervision of many mental health professionals, so that went quite well. And when I got home, I decided that I would knit Superkid a jumper, because you move straight from a scarf to a jumper, right? This is what you do. So I knitted this jumper, and it was hard, and it had many holes. It had a neck that was sort of sideways, and it had many holes in it. But nonetheless, I put this jumper on Superkid proudly, and we'd actually got a babysitter that day. And so we went out and left Superkid in the jumper. And when I got home, the babysitter said, I took that jumper off of Superkid. I assume you didn't mean to put it on her. So she never wore it again, and that was the end of my knitting career. Do we have any more?
Yes. Apologise to Marie for not showing her creation.
I'm sorry, Marie. I really am. I enjoyed your creation, but I couldn't possibly share everything, so I tried to choose a selection of things. If you'd like to send me something next week, I'll make a real effort to show that. I will make a note and make a real effort to show that next week.
Simon B asks, what's your favourite Star Trek series and favourite captain?
Favourite Star Trek series and captain? Good question. I think my favourite series is Deep Space Nine, because I just love the quirky characters, particularly, what's the name of the guy who has the bar in Deep Space Nine? Is it Quark? I feel like his name's Quark.
That's right,
yeah, particularly Quark. I really love those characters on Deep Space Nine. But my favourite captain has got to be Jean-Luc Picard. And I can tell you now, anytime he wants to make it so, he's very welcome.
So, Jodie asks, tips for preventing meltdowns.
Tips for preventing meltdowns. Tips for preventing meltdowns are Quark kind of scares you. Yeah, he is a little bit scary, but I quite like that. Basically, it's the work that you do before the meltdown. It's sensory diet. It's not getting overloaded. I went a bit dark all of a sudden, didn't I? Turn up my light, but that's not really helping. Could you just angle that light towards me slightly, please?
It's not changed anything here.
Okay. Anyway, I'm a little bit dark. Join me. It's like a meltdown prevention light kind of vibe that I've got going on here. So it's sensory diets. It's making sure you're not getting overloaded. It's time with your special interests. It's managing your anxiety. It's mindfulness. It's eating well. It's sleeping well. It's basically everything that you would do to take care of yourself so that you're not becoming overloaded, so that the pop bottle is not getting shaken too much and you're not melting down. Hope that's helpful.
Marie asked, do you have a bracelet that says I'm autistic or something similar in case something bad happens?
I don't have a bracelet. What I do have, I have two things. Did I just do that? I have two things. One of which is I carry a card in my wallet from the National Autistic Society that says I am autistic and here are the things I might struggle with. And I also have the Apple Health app, which I believe that if something happened, an ambulance or something happened, they can access that on my phone, and it has my medical history on there, so it has my chronic illnesses, and it also has the fact that I'm autistic. I don't have a bracelet because I have lots of jewellery, and if I had a particular bracelet that I had to wear all the time, then all my other bracelets would get sad, because obviously shoes, bracelets, all things that you have multiples of, if you don't choose it that day, it gets sad. That makes total sense, right?
Gary's saying that he's got alexithymia and doesn't understand emotions. Is there any way to understand emotions while being on the spectrum?
Alexithymia. I also have alexithymia to some degree. So for those of you that don't know, alexithymia is the inability to recognise and assess your own emotions. So for me, that means that I have basically two states in my head, that I am either happy or I'm not happy, and I don't really understand all the stuff in between. So what I've been doing to try and manage that is basically just trying to learn the emotions more. So when I am feeling either the good emotion or the bad emotion, which is how I would describe it, trying to analyse what led to that emotion, why am I feeling that way, and if you can analyse why you're feeling that way, you might be able to kind of intellectually work out what that emotion is. So for example, if someone got a job that I didn't get, I would just be feeling bad. I wouldn't get that was maybe jealousy or whatever. I would kind of analyse, oh, it's because I didn't get that job and that person got it, so what I'm feeling is jealousy. And I would write that down, and I would kind of try and learn those by rote. I would also recommend emotion and anxiety journaling, so recording your emotions and your anxiety levels on a daily basis so that you can start to recognise patterns. I think there's some more questions in there that I couldn't get to.
Izzy's age 10, says that she tends to overreact to things. How can she control her feelings?
Oh, Izzy, you're only 10, and so I really wouldn't worry too much to start with. I really wouldn't worry too much. I think if there's a time that you can overreact to things, being age 10 is definitely it. But I would say that what I've just said to Gary is also really applicable to you. If you could start to keep an emotion or an anxiety journal, so every day, once or twice a day, record how you're feeling and why you're feeling that way and how you reacted, then maybe you could also record how you could have reacted differently. So let's say something's happened. You've had a bad experience, something's happened, and you've reacted in a way that you feel like is overreacting or hasn't been helpful. Write that down without judgment, if possible. Don't feel, oh, I was really terrible because I did this. Just write that down and then look at how you could have handled that in future. So let's say you lost your temper and yelled at people, one that I am very familiar with. You could write down that you did that, and then you could write down that in future you could go and punch a pillow, or you could go and run around the garden, or you could go and jump on a trampoline, or whatever it is that you could have done that might have helped you to feel better. I hope that's helpful, Izzy. But really, main thing that you need to do at 10 years old is to feel good about yourself and who you are, and to feel proud of who you are, because I'm sure that you are awesome, because most people are. And the more good you feel about who you are, the better you tend to behave. If you start feeling bad about yourself, you tend to behave badly. If you feel good about yourself, you tend to behave well. So try and boost that self-esteem as well by noticing not just when you're not succeeding, but when you are succeeding.
Matapedi, who possibly wasn't with us last time, is asking what your tattoo is.
What's my tattoo? Which one? This one is 3 elephants, which is representing the children. 1, 2, 3 elephants, kawaii elephants, and they are adorable. And this one is some soot sprites from Studio Ghibli's My Neighbor Totoro and Howl's Moving Castle. Keep talking. Okay. What time is it? Okay, I'm going to do about 5 more minutes, so if you've got any more questions, get them in. Forever hold your peace, or hold your peace till next Wednesday when I'll be back. I hope you're all doing okay. I've actually had a better week this week. Each week prior to this week, I had a huge meltdown on a Tuesday. Tuesday was my day to have a meltdown, but this Tuesday, I am pleased to announce I did not have a meltdown. I did not storm out of the house. All has been good. I have had a few tiny weepy moments, but to be honest, I'm predicting that most of the country is probably having a few tiny weepy moments. Alice, I was going to say, I noticed the question when I looked back through my live stream last week. I noticed that your question was actually to do with your teenager being concerned because you are a key worker, rather than you looking to entertain them. So I don't think I answered that quite right. So I think I did actually want to answer that question properly. And I would say that if your teenager is anxious because you're a key worker and they're feeling like you're going out there and, you're potentially at risk, maybe try and give them facts that can reassure them, which are, that you're young, that you're not in an at-risk category, all the kinds of ways that you can reassure them, but not just, oh, it'll be okay, reassuring with actual fact-based evidence that you will probably be okay. I did want to get back to that because I noticed when I read your question that when Mr. Purple had read it to me, he'd skipped the bit about you being a key worker. So I hope that's helpful.
So Ashley's asking, he's 20 and autistic, how do you manage bad thoughts from the past and negative opinions from others?
Bad thoughts from the past and negative opinions from others. Bad thoughts from the past, I'd start with therapy, to be honest with you. I did about 2 years of therapy about stuff that had happened to me in the past that I found incredibly helpful, because through that experience I learned that I am not in control of what other people have done or what has happened to me. I am only in control of how I react to those experiences and how I move forward. So therapy is a really good starting point. Bad feelings, finding ways to accepting those feelings for a start off, because I think sometimes we, as autistic people particularly, when we have a bad feeling, we feel like we need to fix it. Like, oh, we can't have this bad feeling, what can I do to fix it? And we run around trying to do things to fix those bad feelings, when sometimes the reality is that the human condition is that sometimes people feel bad, and that's just the way it is. So now what I try to do when I feel bad is to accept that I feel bad and to kind of sit with that without panicking, and then to, rather than trying to fix it, to gently try and do activities that might encourage me to feel better, like time with my dog, like watching funny TV shows, like doing art, like time with my special interests. But I think the key fact is to not feel like you should feel good all the time, because nobody feels good all the time. So it's okay to feel bad, and it's okay to feel bad knowing that maybe you feel bad right now, but you will feel better at some point in the future, and to just kind of ride it out until that happens.
Keely asks, how do your children cope at school when feeling stressed or anxious?
How do my children cope at school when feeling stressed or anxious? Well, Wonder Girl doesn't go to school anymore, so I suppose that's the answer to that one. But Super Kid and Robo Boy do get anxious about school from time to time, and we talk it through. I'm really fortunate in that my kids are really open and honest with me about how they're feeling. Because they describe me as like that I'm good at feelings, that I'm good at self-esteem boosting, that's kind of my skill, and they know that, so they'll usually come to me and we'll talk it through how they're feeling and how we could maybe help them with that feeling. We usually find a solution. I'm quite lucky at the moment, because usually it's something that is kind of resolvable. Maybe that'll change as they get a little bit older, but we find a solution, and I find that generally helps them to feel calmer and happier. And if it's worse than that and it's not fixable, I will talk to their support teams at school. And in fact, in the past, have even gone as far as going to CAMS with Super Kid and getting their support with anxiety to help her to manage that.
Catherine asks, does it feel like you're getting used to lockdown now?
Yes, Catherine, that's a really good thing to ask. Yes, I think I am getting used to lockdown. What I'm worried about is that I'm getting a little bit too used to lockdown. I'm actually getting quite into having no social pressures at all. Like not feeling like I'm not being a good friend if I'm not making sure that I see people regularly. I think we all live with this pressure of fear of missing out. I think it's sometimes described as, but also like maybe like we should, like this is what life should look like. Sitting in my house all the time, watching TV, playing Animal Crossing, and doing art is not an acceptable life. Therefore, I should be doing X, Y, and Z. And now all that pressure has been taken away, and I don't have to do anything apart from be at home with my family. And I've gone from feeling quite panicked about that to feeling quite settled. And I'm not sure I'm going to find it that easy to return to having to do those things. So yeah, I think some of us are settling into this lockdown. And that reminds me, I also had a really cool thing happen this week. I have been playing Animal Crossing on my iPad, which I'd mentioned in the past, but I got a grant as a carer for Wonder Girl that you're supposed to, it's like a one-off grant, and you're supposed to spend it on something that will make your life easier and happier as a carer. So I spent it on a Switch Lite and a copy of Animal Crossing New Horizons, and now I live on an island with cute animals building a house, and I can say that has definitely helped me settle into lockdown, because where before, when I needed to sit because of my health problems, not having the energy to do anything else, I was mindlessly scrolling through news and Facebook and Twitter, and which is definitely not good for my brain. Now I'm building a house on an island, and that has been like my highlight of my week, I think.
Okay, getting towards the end. Pictures. Do we have any pictures from circus days?
Pictures from circus days. There are a few pictures from circus days, but most of them feature Mr. Purple, who is a little bit shy of the internet. So I'll have to ask him if I could share some of those with you in next week's live stream, and if he says yes, I'll try and have a couple of circus pictures to include with the isolation creations. Right, were there any more questions? I could probably do one more. Nope. Okay, I think that we're going to wrap that up now because I've been here for quite a while. Mr. Purple is a legend. That's absolutely true. You guys are like inspired by me, but I would not be able to do this without the support of Mr. Purple. So we are definitely a fantastic team, and I'm really fortunate to have such a great relationship. Thank you all for being here. It's lovely to see you every week. This is as great for me as it is for you. It's just nice to have that connection with the autism community, with my community. And hello, is that Pamela out there? Nice to see you. I will be back next Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Don't forget to send me your isolation creations in the meantime to ella@purpleella.com. I will see you next week. Thanks for dropping by. Bye. Oh, how do I make it?